Hello students, today we are going to start our part second from physical and chemical changes. Students, in part first you have learned about the physical changes. Which are the physical changes? Interconversion of state of matter is the best example of the physical change. And dear students, one activity I want to explain to you about this physical change. So if we will cut carrot into the pieces, is it the reversible change? No. Is it the permanent change? Yes, it is the permanent change. It is not the temporary change. So students, the cutting of the carrot into the pieces is the permanent change also, and it is the irreversible change also. Then also cutting of carrot into the pieces we called as a physical change. The reason behind that, no new substance is formed when we are cutting the carrot into pieces, and the chemical composition of each piece will remain the same. Because of this reason, the cutting of carrot into the pieces is the physical change. And now students, our next topic is the chemical change. First we will define what is meant by chemical change. In chemical change, there are the formation of the new substances. Opposite to the physical change, new substances are formed. This chemical change is the permanent change and it is the irreversible change. And chemical composition of the new substances and the original substances both are different from each other. Means students, the physical and chemical properties of the original substance and the new substance both are different from each other. This is the most important characteristic in chemical change. So in that way we will define the chemical change, and this change is the permanent change and it is irreversible change. The next topic of the chemical change is that characteristics of the chemical change. And the first characteristic of the chemical change, new substances are formed in the chemical change. For example, if we will take small amount of iron powder and sulfur powder in test tube. So if we will give the heat to this test tube which is containing iron powder and sulfur powder, after some minutes you will see that there is the formation of the blackish solid substance. That black solid substance is the iron sulfide. Now students, you have know that this iron is attracted by the magnet and sulfur is soluble in carbon disulfide. But this new substance, iron sulfide, it is not attracted by the magnet and it is not soluble in carbon disulfide. So the total properties of the iron sulfide is different, and sulfur and iron are showing the different. So new substances are formed with the different chemical composition. The second characteristics of the chemical change is that the change is the permanent and change is the irreversible. For example, when the piece of paper is burned, the new substance is formed, that is the ash. And dear students, even the burning of paper will stop, the ash will not again convert into the paper. That is why the chemical change is the permanent change and it is the irreversible change. Burning of wood is also the permanent change and the irreversible change. The third characteristics of the chemical change is that there is usually change in the mass of original substances. Take a piece of magnesium in a crucible with a lid, weigh it and then heat it by opening the lid after short intervals to let the air enter the crucible. When the whole of the magnesium is burned, cool the crucible and weigh it again. You will find that the final weight is more than the initial weight. This proves that when a chemical change takes place, there is a gain in the mass. In the above process, magnesium combines with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. Hence, the mass of magnesium oxide is gained. Now, the next fourth characteristic of the chemical change is that exchange of energy takes place in the chemical change. How wood or paper is burned, in air, carbon dioxide and water vapor are forming. But with this carbon dioxide and water vapor, there is the formation of energy in the form of heat energy and light energy. So, the exchange of energy takes place is the characteristic of the chemical change. Students, these are all the characteristics of the chemical change. Now, the next one is the examples of chemical changes. So, if we will see the examples around us, your mummy is making curd from the milk. Whatever the chemical composition of the curd and milk, both are different from each other. So, that curd, making of the curd from the milk is the example of chemical change. Rusting of iron, then cooking of rice, when we are cooking the food, that is also the chemical change. Then formation of salt from acid and base. Yes, when acid and base react with each other, they are forming the salt. Then students, daily what food we are eating, that digestion of the food is also the example of the chemical change. Next one is the burning of fuel, burning of wood, burning of paper, that LPG cylinders we are using. These are the examples of the chemical changes. And now students, our next topic is that the burning of candle is the physical change and the chemical change. Simultaneously both are going on in the burning of candle. How and why? We will see that. When a candle is lighted, some of the solid wax is start to melt and it turns into the liquid wax, and then it burns to produce a flame. When the flame is producing, there is the production of carbon dioxide gas and water vapors. These two new substances are formed, and with these new substances, there is the formation of energy, heat energy and light energy. So, when the energy exchange takes place, new substances are formed. That is why burning of candle is called as a chemical change. Now, how it is a physical change? When some of the molten wax drops in the floor, it again solidifies it will cool. So, the solid wax is turned into the liquid wax, and this liquid wax again turned into the solid wax. So, change of the state is only the physical change. That is why students, the melting of the wax of this candle, burning candle, is the physical change, and the burning of candle which is produced, the new substances, carbon dioxide, water vapor and the energy, that heat energy and light energy, that is the chemical change. So, if it is asked in exam, why burning of candle is called as a physical and chemical change? This reason you have to explain. So, dear students, this is all about the chemical change. Now students, with the help of the definition of physical change and chemical change, then characteristics of the physical change and chemical change, we are able to differentiate between these both physical and chemical changes. Our next point is that students, differences between physical and chemical changes. The first point in physical change is, in a physical change, no new substance is formed and the chemical composition of the substance remains the same. There are changes only in physical properties and state. In chemical change, the first point is that in a chemical change, a new substance with entirely different chemical composition and properties is formed. The second point of physical change is that the change is temporary, and in chemical change the change is the permanent. The third point of physical change is that the change can be reversed by simple physical methods, and the third point of the chemical change is that the change cannot be reversed by simple physical methods. The fourth point for the physical change, heat or light energy may or may not be released or absorbed. And the fourth point for chemical change, heat or light energy or both are given out or absorbed. In this second lesson, you have learned that types of changes, then physical change, examples of that physical change, characteristics of the physical change, then chemical change, definition of the chemical change, characteristics of the chemical change with the examples, and which are the chemical change. These are then also the examples of the chemical change, and why burning of candle is called as a chemical change also and physical change also. So dear students, here we completed our part second of the lesson number second, physical and chemical changes. Thank you.